was totally attacking her. I don't see it that way. I see it as, two people who just have really bad ways of dealing with conflict that are going after each other. I do think that Shareese could have handled herself better. She didn't have to lose her cool. Uh, but I also do understand how it is to defend yourself when you have multiple people against you and you're trying to defend your point. Because I don't care who amongst us, there may be people that just for whatever we see Shareese, we don't like her, whatever. But just put yourself in the shoes. If you feel like you're right about something and then you got 20 people telling you you're wrong, it's not going to change your opinion. It's actually going to make you more upset, especially when, they're trying to adamantly tell you you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Your opinion's not going to change. All right. So I do understand that point. I do understand from Zadia's standpoint, there was no need for Shareese to unleash that information about where she was late at night, just the same way as she didn't like Zadia bringing up that information about the kiss with her and LJ on camera and putting it out there in that way. Shareese didn't need to do that, right? So it's which came first, the chicken or the egg? In Shareese's mind, they had settled this beef, but it wasn't settled, and that was the mistake Shareese made. she forgot that that Zadia had not, she didn't let it go, and there was in no way, there was there was nothing other than to be messy than to bring that information out when she did, and then trying to cover it again and say like, oh, some people just don't understand my jokes. I've never seen her to be a jokester. I'm sorry. She's not a jokester. Zadia, stop it. So that's my thoughts about it. I really don't think that the both of them, there was any right or wrong person. I think they both were being messy and they both just
Okay,
got each
Sean.
other.
Now I done slid over a little bit on the couch with Ashley and stuff, and now you want to sit here and stay. You don't think there was nobody wrong?
What do you mean?
And how is everybody got a little wrong and everybody is not wrong now? How is this working?
I'm saying that Shareese was wrong for the way she handled herself in terms of going off and flipping out. She was 100% wrong for her reaction. She should have remained calm. And I'm saying that I could understand the fact that how she was upset because there's multiple people telling her she's wrong, and then she got Ashley getting in her face. So what would you like me to move on? What should I change my opinion about?
No, at the very end, you talking about nobody is wrong in this. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
No,
Like,
no,
so
no.
no.
I said there's nobody that I can say like somebody's right and somebody's wrong. You get what I'm saying? Where we can say, in certain scenarios, hey, I think Shareese was wrong. No, I don't think she was 100% wrong in the scenario, but I don't think she was 100% right either. So it's a complex situation because you got people that don't handle conflict well. So it's not like it's going to be a clear, in my opinion, it's going to be clear like, oh yeah, Shareese was the victim in this particular instance. I don't think she was a victim. I think some things happened to her where she was kind of sidelined, but she's not the victim, and she also overreacted.
Great. And I'm glad Eris says she riding with you because y'all both moved an inch closer to us too. Thank you. Thank you both for taking that ride.
Oh yeah, you
Appreciate
too
you.
much. I ain't
Appreciate
gonna be
you.
messing with you
I
and
like
Billy
when
Billy.
we all move closer to each other. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate y'all. And she was not backed into a corner, Aries. Do you stop trying to give her that?
Yes, she
She
was. She
backed her.
was back
If
into a
anything, she
corner.
backed herself into the daggone corner. She threw them people up in there. So if she didn't want to go toe to toe with everybody, she shouldn't have brought everybody in.
I think she was just talking about her feelings. I don't think there's anything wrong with you telling somebody how you feel. And I think that to me is where I'm kind of empathizing with Shareese, because if somebody feels something, yeah, you can talk through my feelings with me and say, well, hey, I don't see that was it. But if I feel like everybody is ganging up on me, I can have a right to feel that way, right? Because when I was talking about the whole Simone Biles thing, right, and I was by myself literally, And I felt ganged up on at a time, but I mean, I'm not going to lose my mind about it. I'm not going to go crazy. And that's where I think Shareese should have just reeled it back in. But yeah, you can feel ganged up on. Now, technically, was I being ganged up on and everybody was screaming and yelling at me? No. But when you're one single person that feels a way about something and everybody feels differently and they're coming at you with strong opinions, you can't say the person doesn't feel ganged up on. That's just how she felt. Now, I don't see Shareese as somebody saying, "Oh, I'm the victim, feel bad for me." She doesn't even care like that. She's just saying, like, "Hey, listen, there were times when I wasn't, I was left to myself."
Okay, so when they say you say I feel ganged up on, and we proceed to tell you I did not gang up on you, and then you're like, "Yes, I did. Yes, you did." It's no longer a feeling.
It's still a feeling
No,
because
it's
I'm
no longer
telling you,
stealing. When you're telling me that I did, and I told you I did not gang up on you, that was not a 10 on anything I did. It's no longer a feeling. You're telling me I did.
it's still the way I felt. And you're telling me the way I'm feeling is wrong. So we're just going to have a difference of opinion. It's a matter of opinion. Feelings are how somebody interprets your actions. It's what that made me feel on in the inside. You may not have intended to gang up on me, right? Just like you may say something that hurts my feelings. It wasn't your intention, but it's how I felt. It's how I interpreted the words that you said. So it's very difficult to tell somebody, "Oh, you felt wrong." It's like, well, okay, all right, thank you. Now I see it your way. I didn't feel that way. It doesn't. That's not how feelings happen. Like it takes a lot. It's not going to happen on a reunion stage. I can tell you for that much. But it takes a while and explaining, and then people have to calmly talk to you and say, "Hey, listen, this is the scenario. This is what happened. Let me give you some examples." But Ashley screaming, Vern scolding, that ain't gonna change Shareese. I'm just saying, it's not gonna make her feel less ganged up on. It actually embodies the same behavior that she's saying she felt.
If that's the case, if she felt that behavior and is embodying that, that's the first thing that should come out of my mouth is, "See, this is what I'm talking about right here," instead of jumping up out my seat and running to escape this room, have escaped the conversation. If you're ganging up on me or whatever, and you're talking irate, I don't have to match your energy. I can see what you're doing right now. This is what I'm talking about. I'm showing you an example of what I'm talking about. This is what made me feel this way. This behavior right here. As adults, that's what we have to do. This right here. Because if you could tell me you have feel any type of thing, I can't tangibly obtain your feelings. I can't hold your feelings for you. So you have to show me an example of what is making you feel this way if you want me to change that behavior. You getting up, running away in the moment does not help me help you fix that problem. So if that's the case, she has to sit through that process and sit there and say, "Hey, this is what I'm talking about, ladies. When I speak, all of y'all jump in." We didn't see any of that for the incident that she's referring to in the kitchen. They didn't agree with her. No. Did they isolate her? No. She has boundaries. Her boundaries isolated her. She did say she's okay with it. I get that. But if you're sitting here making it seem like we isolated you because of your boundaries, that's her words. I felt isolated. They isolated me. No, sis, you isolated yourself. Don't be putting all of this on me because of your feelings. If I'm not actually doing something that you can physically say that I'm doing to you, or if you're not correct me in this moment, sometimes your feelings are just like you're being sensitive. And it sounds hard to say that to people or whatever. And I know we're supposed to take people's feelings into account, but you have to like actually provide evidence of it. Otherwise, it's just taken as you're being sensitive because it's the room and the atmosphere is not in your favor. And unfortunately for Shareese, that's what it comes off as. You threw these other bodies up in here. Now they're ganging up on you. These two people were minding their business like they said they was doing the time that you and Zadia was going at it in the kitchen. So show me a time that I ganged up on you. Show me what I did to make you feel like you was ganged up on you if you want me to correct any of that. I don't have to keep coming at you positively when you're telling me I'm doing things to make you feel some type of way. Why do I have to speak to you calmly when you're now making me feel some type of way? See how that feeling thing keeps going back and forth? So for me, it's like it's hard for me to sit here and just give Shareese all this grace when I know Shareese knows how to communicate, and she has to allow that hot head of hers to cool down and just have conversations with people when they're making her feel some type of way. Because now you're turning around making other people feel some type of way, and it's a snowball effect going down. But at the end of the snowball effect, you get hit with the last ball, and now you're mad. Everybody ganged up on you. Everybody hit you with something. Everybody did something to you. You forgot how this all started. Once again, it's all started because you decided to open your mouth about Zadia's business. No.
And that's where, we're on the same page. That's why, and again, that's why I think this is such a, there's so many layers to this. It, Sharice is no, I don't think she's a victim in any of this at all. So for anybody that's hearing my perspective, I just want to make it plain. I don't think she's a victim. I do see that there were things that she did and said in the scenario that contributed to the things that happened. Specifically, she shouldn't have mentioned the whole thing about where Zadia was or where she suspected that she was, and then doubling down on it, saying what she overheard, you know, her about Zadia and Cam. All that stuff is messy, messy, messy. So when you get in the weeds and you get into the thick of things like that, that's what's going to come along with it. So I'm 100% with that. And I think Zadia played dirty. And I think the girls, they got involved too. Because Vern was talking long before Shareese even said the ganged up. Vern got to pointing her finger and having some conversation about interjecting on parts of things that were transpiring. So I just think that, hey,
What part was
people
Vern saying anything? She didn't say anything until she said she was ganged up on.
no, she didn't. She was talking before that. She was talking before that. She was actually addressing. So I don't remember exactly what it was, but she was talking. And she was calling out something that transpired between either Zadia and Shareese or something specific to Shareese. Um, and Shareese didn't say anything in that moment. It was about 30 seconds after that. That's when she said, I also felt ganged up on. So it's like, hey, look, I think you also got to give people the right to have an opinion. And people get so worked up about what somebody says. If you really cared, right? If you really cared about what the person is saying, take a step and ask them a question before you jump to conclusions and start defending yourself. And I did this, and I did that, and I did this. Because really, in a relationship, that's not going to work either. Because if your partner tells you, "Hey, listen, I felt ganged up on, or I felt like you didn't take my side when we were having this conversation with a group of people," and then you immediately go to, "Well, no, I didn't, and I always do, and I did it here, and I always try to do," that's going nowhere because you're invalidating the person's feelings. And I think that's what people miss is like, yeah, from your perspective, maybe you don't feel like you were doing that, but this is how the person interprets your feelings. And I think that's something that is that next step level of having an understanding and being empathic towards other people, is giving them the ability to have their opinion and flesh it out. Let's talk through it. But if I immediately jump to, no, I didn't do that, it goes nowhere, because now the both of you are defensive. You're never going to get to the meat of the matter because all you're doing is defending yourself. So that's where I think they were wrong for just jumping down her throat immediately off of one thing that she said without giving her a chance to explain it, without hearing her out, but immediately defending and ganging up on her. So that's the part that I'm still going to stick to. I don't think that's an effective way to handle when somebody tells you something that you disagree with.
Yeah, I think you gotta agree with people when people don't want to talk. Let them not talk. When she said she didn't want to deal with the conversation, I know it's a reality show. She's trying. Again, that's her coping mechanism. I don't want to deal with this because I know I go 0 to 60. Right. I'm trying not to look this certain type of way. I'm trying not to deal with this. Let me be alone. I got it. I agree with your point. Y'all agree with your point. I got it. Let's move on. Walking off the stage, let me walk off and get myself together because I don't want to do this. I'm tired of doing this. And I agree with, I believe when she said she was tired of doing this, she was tired of doing this. She's tired of going back and forth. She was really ready to let it go. But she also has to sit there and listen when there's some criticism coming her way, or when there's some things, because people see be in the same situation and everybody sees it differently, right? she saw the situation differently, and now she responded to what she saw. Were they attacking her? No, they were trying to get her to calm down. But at certain points in her lifestyle and her trigger, it's kind of like Oprah Winfrey in Color Purple. I got to fight every day. If I got to fight my daddy, fight my mama. Shareese had to fight everybody in her life, and so now she's feeling attacked by everybody when you don't agree with her. And so she's feeling attacked. And so when you feel attacked or you feel like you're back in the corner, that's when she lashes out, right? And that's how she's been lashing out the whole time. She lashes out at everybody when you don't agree or when she sees things a certain way or when she feels that she's 100% right. And so she feels she's 100% right in the situation. And were they ganging up on her? No. Her perception was they was ganging up on her because they were all trying to get her to calm down. And that's something that she doesn't want people to do when she's in that situation. So Shareese has to understand there are some people who genuinely like her and want to be friends with her, but when you get Ashley and her back and forth, then you had her and Zadia back and forth, and Ashley has no coof already anyway. So now you got two hotheads going back and forth. Nobody can get a word in edgewise, and it just wasn't a good look for none of the ladies at that point because they all kind of hotheads and to move on. So it's not good.
I think personally it's quite interesting how Shareese responds to Vern to how she responds to Zadia. Just going to say it. I don't want to say anything else, but I just want to be aware that she does not respond to Vern the same way she responds to Ashley or the way she responded to Zadia. Now, call it whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to say it again. She never responded the exact same way because Vern actually was the first one to pop off. And Vern let her know right from the bat, what you're saying is wrong, right? And then it went on to Ashley. And actually, Vern responded after Shareese had said about y'all, I feel the way I feel. Now, here's my thing with I feel. I believe it's great terms to use I feel because it doesn't necessarily lay the blame. But what you don't get to do is say I feel and you don't listen. You don't get to say you must be able to understand how I feel when you don't listen to other people. You actually don't get that. You don't get that grace and that privilege, right? You get to say I feel when you are a person who listens to other people and their feelings. So when she's saying, I feel, hey, we should be all good with it, I don't give a heck about your feelings either because you don't give a heck about my feelings, right? You had the opportunity to listen to Zadia and how she felt. And in fact, it's the second time she invalidated Zadia's feelings because actually Zadia was the first person to bring I feel, which was the first few episodes when she said to her, I feel like, she said those words to her when there was an argument about the door situation and Shareese shut her all the way down. So how do we expect us and the crew to be like, oh my God, like you say, I feel right now, and we just believe what you're saying. And you did it again on the reunion where you cut her off again once more when she was telling you how she felt. And when Tamika was trying to tell you, hey, listen up, open your ears and listen, she didn't want to do that. So I don't have the sympathy nor the empathy. We don't get to put Shareese's victim role that she got ganged up upon and how you feel about the situation when you don't listen to anybody else. You're getting ganged up upon because you don't listen. And that part has to be explained. It should not be left on its own to be extradited from the actual situation. Do you know what I'm saying to you? The reason why you're in a situation where people are trying to tell you to listen is because you're not listening. And so now you've not just got the three girls, you've got Tamika, the host, and the other woman trying to tell you, hey, just listen, let them speak. You're not even letting people finish. You told people you don't even care. So why would I care about how you feel? Right? Why would I care about something that you don't want to practice yourself? So you don't get to play that victim role. You don't get to have that sympathy. You don't get to have that empathy for me in that immediate moment because you don't know how to practice that yourself. So you can walk off the stage all you want. I'm going to call it manipulative because you can't actually do the basics. If Sean is talking, I'm going to listen to Sean and be like, all right, cool. I'm going to disagree with you though. And I might say, yes, how I feel. Actually, I felt like this. Now, Sean can say I felt ganged up on that particular panel because he listens. Now, if you weren't listening, Sean, nobody would give a heck what you said about I feel. We wouldn't even care. We wouldn't even care if you said I feel, Sean. If Sean would be like, you can say how you feel. We don't care. But because you listen to other people and you bring other people into the conversation, because you're patient with other people, because you're able to have a conversation with people, that is why when you say, I felt like I was a little bit ganged up at the moment, people might be like, okay, do you know what? Let's maybe maybe we should look at it from a different point of view. The reality of the situation is you're going to always feel ganged up if you're saying an opinion that most people don't agree with.